So today I'm going to share my experience on how I overcame the pressure or depression. Which one? Let me know, please. And a lot of things that hopefully will help you improving your condition if you want to improve your condition, if you feel that you want to. Welcome back to another episode of Live Healthy, Look Good. Yes, finally in the United Kingdom is coming the sun. Well, not completely sure, but yeah, it's not as cold as it was last week. Still very chilly though and windy. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to improve from now on. I want the summer to come. Anyway, as I anticipated in the beginning, before the intro, I'm going to share my experience. In 2007-8-ish, I was training. I was not eating properly. I've never been eating properly, but I was training, and at a certain point of my life, all the problems that I could possibly have related to myself and my family just came together. And they all came together, literally. I was overwhelmed by issues, and pretty bad ones. In fact, I've also lost my mom at the end of this. It was a very long period. I had a brain surgery as well here. I've been hiding it from my family because I didn't want to give more pressure to the already existing one. And I remember it was a very difficult time. I was alone, my wife was abroad, and I didn't want to tell anybody about it because I didn't want, really, I thought I was going to basically, after the surgery, live like in a vegetative state or having brain damages. That in fact I wanted also to just release my wife from any duties, or according to our contract, which is called marriage, And yeah, it was a very bad time. But anyway, this bad time lasted about 6 years, during which I started to eat worse than usual. And if I say worse than usual, I really mean it, because I grew up in a family with no nutritional education at all, which means, well, there's nothing bad about it. We're not taught nutrition at school. So I wasn't the only one, but in fact, I'm not blaming my parents about it, but that was the case. So I ate a lot of junk food when I was a kid. My mom, she used to make also kind of healthy things, like a lot of fruits, but yeah, along with sugars. And then I ate a lot of hams, salami, these kind of things, instead of other things that maybe were healthier, because I just didn't know the difference. Why should I eat a carrot if I can eat a slice of ham? Which, okay, there's no comparison in terms of nutrition, but it's just an example. So yeah, I've been pretty much eating junk for all my life, even though I was training, because I've been training in fighting sports since the 90s, about half in the middle of the 90s, till 2 years ago. But of course, in 2009, when I had my brain surgery, I stopped for a few years, for exactly 5-6 years, even though I was supposed not to fight anymore, because I have a hole here on my skull, and which I wasn't even told about after the surgery. I found out when I did, it's not the MRI, it's the other one. I don't know how it's called in English. I'm sure it's an acronym, but I have no idea about it. Also, speaking about acronyms and abbreviations, I should also mention that in my previous videos I've been talking about transgenic fats. Now, I was wrong, the name is incorrect. I've always seen them written as trans fats, but for some reasons I thought it was just an abbreviation for transgenic. The worst thing is that nobody ever told me during my exams, because I did a lot of written exams and also practical exams, and nobody ever told me, look, they're not transgenic, they're just trans. Transgenic, in fact, means a completely different thing, while trans refers to the geometric composition of these fats. And under a chemical point of view, though, the meaning, the effects of these fats are exactly as I described, just the name is incorrect, so you know. Let's go back to the story. I was saying that I've never been eating, I was training, so I was always a little fat in my 20s, in my 30s, because I was training, but I wasn't really taking care so much of my nutrition because I had no clue. Like majority of people, I thought you train and eventually you become fit and you lose the fat, but that's not the way it works, as I said in the previous videos. Then I stopped fighting, I stopped working out, I was depressed, and the pressure, I would call it depression, okay? Then you, if it's wrong, please correct me and just forgive it. It's something that who has never experienced may not understand. It's really bad. People think, you just react, you don't allow depression to hit you, but that's not the way it works. If it happens, it happens. That's it. There's nothing you can do, and actually you need help because you can't overcome it very easily. I mean, it's possible, but it's not easy and it doesn't necessarily happen. In fact, mine lasted for so long, and I was really close to the bottom of the depression scale, so I was really in the very bad one. And during this time, I was so desperate. I did nothing. I was so apathic, if it's actually an adjective, which means a person who doesn't react to anything. And I was spending my time in front of a computer, studying though, because I was studying. I wasn't just wasting my time, but it was wasting my time anyway because I wasn't studying the right way, so I didn't learn as much as I could have learned, even though I was spending like 16, 17 hours a day sitting in front of a computer or on a desk doing something completely static, which isn't really healthy, along with eating junk, which I ate in great abundance in that time. During the breaks between these modules, instead of taking advantage of these breaks and doing something more dynamic for myself, I was so depressed that I kept playing with my Xbox or playing with my computer. Civilization was really the one game I've been playing the most, and in front of Facebook, just wasting my time interacting with people here and there, which isn't a waste of time. I mean, interacting with people is definitely not a waste of time, but when you do only that all day, yeah, it becomes a waste of time. And I was aware of that, and I was feeling guilty, but I wasn't able to overcome it. I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I wasn't able to stop because I really didn't find any will in myself to do anything more productive, which is really bad and it's really difficult. Though I found a video of myself where I was probably at the apex of my overweight phase, and I was doing a video review for a friend for a drawing course. So I'm gonna play a little bit of it so that you can see how I looked. It was in 2013. So my very first individual project was this car, which I made exactly after the final shading assignment. Then I wanted to do something more complex, and I did this glass, which I took by a photograph that I shot many years ago. And then I said, well, why not fur? And so I draw this zebra as well. And these are my individual pencil projects that I was able to do thanks to this course. So you've seen I wasn't really the one that you are looking at today. I had my eyes swollen, my whole face was swollen, my mouth was swollen, my arms were just fatty and chubby, and that happens to everybody. I mean, not to everybody, but it can happen to everybody. So if you are feeling ugly, because I was feeling so ugly that I didn't even want to go outside. I remember I never stepped outside of the door of my house. I did it occasionally because, of course, sometimes you must do it. So if you have to go to the doctor, or if there is something that you cannot avoid, then was when I was leaving my house. And I was feeling so embarrassed that I didn't even want to buy clothes anymore. My wife used to buy clothes for me. And if I look at my pants or trousers, according to where you are from, I can probably fit 3 times now in them. It was a very tough time, very bad time. I'm very grateful. My wife has always been close to me during this time. She's always been supportive. Unfortunately, it wasn't easy for her because of me, because I was difficult. You know, I was hurt, and she lived all my depression without being able to help me, because she didn't know what to do. She only supported me. She's just being amazing. My wife is the best in the world, and I'm really happy, and I'm so lucky I found her. Then I also moved. I was in Italy at the time. I moved to the UK because I was looking for opportunities that unfortunately I didn't have in my country. And I've kept being depressed. And then at a certain point, something happened in my life. It's something that I don't want to talk about because it's not nice either. But that thing, that even though it was really bad, made me change my life. So I started to train again. And that time, I also started to count my calories. It was the toughest thing I've ever done in terms of time, because it was really difficult to track manually all the labels. And my wife, again, she helped me there as well. At a certain point, because I'm not really one of these guys, even if I like technologies a lot, I grew up with technologies, and it's weird for my age because I was born in the 70s, whereas now the new generations, they just born with all these things, the social media, all these computers and devices. When I was born, there was nothing, but I've been using computers since I was 6 because my father, he had this passion, which I have inherited. So I grew up in a technological environment, but I've never really been into telephones and apps. So I didn't know there were these apps that you can use to tracking your calories and things. So what I did is taking something similar to Excel, which is a spreadsheet where you can do math on it. And I started to rough out my first system that allowed me to track the calories of the day. I made so many changes in it. It was really difficult. It was really demanding. It took me 1 year to just get used to track my calories correctly. I have now developed a very solid system with, it's called Calc in LibreOffice. You can do it in Excel as well. It doesn't really take a scientist to do it, but mine now has a database where I input all the food that I buy. So I take from their labels, or I find the information about the nutritional fats on internet or from sources that I consider reliable. And now I can track my income of every thing, from fiber, salt, sugars, and in percentage, in grams, for every day of the week, divided by meal. So it's more complex. Of course, I started with just a basic spreadsheet, and then I've been developing on top of it, and now it's a very nice thing. Though, if I share it with you, you will probably find it very difficult to be used. Of course, I made it. I know how to use it. So, but still, you can do it yourself by using these apps, which are free and help enough. The point is that then I started to do this thing as well. And it's when I went back to the gym and I started to fight again, despite I shouldn't have to because of my hole in the skull. So I was supposed not to be hitting my head or banging my head anymore, while of course doing Muay Thai, mixed martial arts, boxing, because that was what I was doing, and also capoeira, which was the lightest one though. Of course, it was exposing my head to kicks and punches, basically, all the time. I've been kicked, I've been punched, I've been knocked out as well in these last years. And yes, I've now retired because I'm just tired of doing it. Probably it's because things have changed too much that I really don't enjoy it anymore. But yeah, I've been doing it, even though in 2009, when I had my brain surgery, I was so afraid even to put my head on the pillow, because I was really scared to be hit, I didn't know what could happen to me. And now I'm still here. I've been knocked out. I mean, guys, I've been knocked out. And also, if I've not been knocked out, I've been punched and kicked so hard that I couldn't even see the colors of the things correctly. I remember, if you've been fighting, you know, a punch can really not only disorient you, but can also make you see things and hear things differently. I remember there was this blue and red floor, and it became yellow and gray to me. I mean, and yeah, you're there, you keep fighting because you are there and you can't stop. If you stop, your opponent doesn't know, and he keeps banging on your head. So yeah, you need to keep up with the fight, and yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. So thankfully, I can be hit in my head without dying. But anyway, that's not the point. So what happened is that I have finally found the time to do all these things, and which is probably the reason why, if you are struggling with going to the gym because you don't have the time to do it, it's where I can help you. So there are people who tell you to analyze what you do in a day and say, like maybe with color coding all your activities and say, okay, the green ones are the ones that I can get rid of, the ones that don't really make me grow my passion, and the red ones are the ones that I, you know, whatever, my passion resides in there. So you need to just get rid of the bad ones and replace them with the good ones. What I can tell you, honestly, you don't need to do that, because if you are sincere with yourself, if you're honest with yourself, you will know already what are the things that you shouldn't do, the things that make you feel guilty if you do them. Come on, like I said, I was feeling guilty when I was all day playing Civilization because it was completely useless. Come on, yeah, okay, you beat the game, and then what? You have beaten a computer, which is not even a human being, which would be more probably gratifying. I know you can play online, but that's not the point of the whole thing. Even if you beat another human, you wasted your time because you've beaten a human in a game, and that's it. Okay, proud of yourself. But if you are, like I was, embarrassed to go outside because you feel ugly and fat, and it makes you feel really uncomfortable, then you may want to replace Civilization, or whatever your Civilization may be, with something that will help you not being embarrassed anymore. Because I can assure you, your life will be so much better when you feel rewarded for what you have done. And definitely, if you want to get fit, if you want to lose fat, not weight, if you've been watching my videos, you know what I refer to. Doing exercise and eating properly is really the key to your happiness. I mean, I'm not the happiest man on earth, but I'm definitely happier than when I was overweight and because I was depressed. And okay, so what happened to me at least, is that once I started training and eating more or less properly, because I'm constantly tweaking, even now, I keep improving, you know, every here and then, not every day, but you keep update with things, and you find out, oh look, this thing I've been eating ever since, it wasn't really the best choice. I can replace it with this other thing which is better. So you know, it keeps happening. But at the beginning, you know, there's a lot that can happen. You know, what happened to me was that I started to see the results, and not only in the mirror, but also in the eyes of the people around me. Because if you become more self-confident, even if you may not be more beautiful according to the others around you, you feel more beautiful and you become automatically more beautiful. And I was really feeling, I wouldn't say, I would just say I was feeling better with myself around the other people. Because it's true, we don't judge people in front of them, but a lot of times you read, and that's really sad, it really bugs me a lot when I read it, or when I hear people complaining or just mocking someone when they don't hear, oh, how fat she is or how fat he is. It's really bad. Maybe because I've been through it and I know what it means, so I'm sensitive about this topic. but it's never nice. And yeah, and sometimes we are judged. Even if we don't hear, we know we are. And if we don't know we are, we feel like we are. And if you start improving yourself and looking at yourself to the mirror, maybe like I have shown in other videos, you take the tape measure and you measure your waistline, your arms or whatever, you know, that makes you feel so much better because you know you are better than before. And that's the best motivational thing that will keep you rolling into this game. So yes, I don't have the solution to your problem. Your solution is in yourself. You need to be very honest with yourself, analyzing what you're doing, how bad you want to obtain your result, which can be having a six-pack, which can be just fitting into an old clothes, whatever your goal is. You have to analyze it, and if you really want it, if you do really want it, so your question is, do I want it for real, or do I prefer wasting my time in front of whatever your Facebook or civilization is? And you, I promise you, will find the time for it. Also, you know, talking about people do work, unless you are so lucky that you don't need a job. And if you're lucky that you don't need a job, you don't even need to look good, probably, because if you're so rich, you can pay for whatever kind of happiness you want. But if you are a normal human being like me, you probably have different needs. And in this case, people have jobs, they work most of their time, because it's not true that you work a third of your life. Yes, you do work a third of your day, but the other 2/3 you spend by resting and by preparing to go to work. So yeah, you don't have so many free hours in a day when you work. And you feel so stressed, and maybe you have a headache because you had a particularly tough day, and you go home and all you want to do is sitting in front of your television, or again, whatever your civilization or Facebook are or is. If you go jogging, I promise you, your body will create, during this jogging and after your jogging, will create so many substances that will make you feel so much better and so more relaxed. I often came back from work and I was so tired, I had a headache and I really wasn't feeling like doing anything, and I went straight to jogging. It was last year, precisely, about this time, this period. And as I think I said, I do 3 miles, not more than 3. I've been occasionally in 4, 5, even probably 9 miles, but usually I do 3 miles in 24, 25 minutes. So it's like 25 minutes of your time, even 30, spent jogging. You come home, and I came home, not you, but I came home, and because I'm in condition, of course. If you are not, it will be a little different. But you will eventually reach that point. And I was coming home and it was just like having done nothing. And the difference was in myself. I had no longer headache. I was feeling reborn, and I was feeling like I could do much more, really. You should try it. I'm not encouraging you to only jog, because that's not the only way. If you want, above all, if you want to grow muscles, you may want to do other activities, because jogging doesn't really make you muscular at all. But yeah, it's still something very good for your health. You should keep doing it, or you should start doing it if you can. And so yes, I mean, you need to analyze yourself and be honest with yourself. You need to talk to yourself really honestly, and you will find out that okay, during your lunch break you can go to the gym, but you don't go because you don't want to. Okay, and you also, it happened to me with friends and colleagues. Because they know I do all these things, so they feel like they should probably do it too, or maybe they feel embarrassed because they don't do it while I do it, and they kept telling me as if as if I minded. Yeah, I'm going to the gym during the lunch break, and then I couldn't go today because I have to work. I have to do this overtime here, as if to justify the reason why they don't do it. I didn't mind. I mean, I understand. I'm not judging anyone, so I was okay with that. But if that's the case, if that's you, and you are not happy about that, you are the only one. All you can do is just changing that. You need to force yourself. You say, okay, I need to act, not only to action, not to act, not only to say I want it, not only to pay my gym membership to make me feel better with myself and then not going to the gym and keep postponing, and also with food, all these things. It's yourself, you know what you're doing, and if you really want it, there are no secrets. If you are depressed, I know it's really difficult, but if you are depressed, first you can ask me, because I've been depressed, so I will understand you, and feel free to do it in the comments. You may create an anonymous YouTube account. Who knows you? I don't even want to know who you are. Just if I can help you, I'll be happy to. I really don't need to know who I'm helping. Just happy if I can inspire and motivate somebody to change their life the way they would like their lives to be. But yeah, ask for help, not necessarily me. You can ask for help, and then do it. Do it. That's the key. Do it. If you don't do it, nothing will change. And if you don't want it enough, you will not do it. So just be honest with yourself. Do you want it? How bad you want it? If you want it, you can do it. And if you can do it, you only have to do it. Okay? I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a little weird. I'm going to keep talking about food and nutrition in the next video. I'm going to start with proteins. And so I don't have anything else to say. Just if you enjoyed the video, and if you didn't, thumbs up, please. 2 if you can. Otherwise, just 1. Just 1 would be enough. But if you can do 2, go for 2. Subscribe the channel, because there is more stuff to come. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer. If you want to know about some exercises, about something about food, please ask. I'm not a nutritionist. If I know the answer, I will help you. Otherwise, I will address you, or may find the answer for you as well. I'll be happy to, because if I don't know it, and if it's related to something that I'm interested in, definitely I will find the answer for you, because I will find it for myself as well. So again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to live healthy so that you will look good, and do it. Bye!